I'm SD and I got a new sewing machine, and you're probably thinking to yourself, why on earth should I care that this handsomely charismatic muscular black man got a sewing machine? Well, let me start off by telling you a story. Every single tutorial that I've made on my channel has been made using my mom's used sewing machine. And it's really funny. What I would do is I would go over to her house and I'd be like, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And I would take her sewing machine that was sitting in the corner and I'd put it in my trunk, and then I would go home and I would make a tutorial on like how to tailor a dress shirt, let's say. And immediately after I would make that tutorial, there was a 100% chance that I had a text on my phone saying, hey, yo, you wanna like let me know when you take my sewing machine? That'd be really helpful cause I use it. Well, let's go forward in time a couple of months from there. And what happens is I'm at home, I'm making some sewing machine tutorials, like I had been for a couple of months at that point, and I got hands down the worst phone call that I've ever gotten in my entire life. I can still replay it in my head to this day. My mom passed away. And if this has happened to you, or you know somebody that it has happened to, obviously it's hands down the worst feeling you could ever imagine feeling. And not only that, your mom represents safety. They represent everything being okay and that everything's gonna continue to be okay. And when you lose your mom, it's like, man, all of that safety and the feeling of everything being all right, that just goes straight out the window. And what ends up happening is there's two versions of you. There's the version you were before something like that happens, and then there's the version of the person you are after something like that happens. And at least for me personally, and I'm sure you could possibly agree, you don't ever actually get over it. You don't overcome it. You don't accept it. You don't say, all right, I'm now comfortable with this and I've accepted it and I'm okay. No, you kind of just slowly but surely get used to being this person over here that you become, that you have no desire to be, but you know that you can't do anything about it. I went over to her house a couple of days after it happened, and yo, it looked like she was gonna be gone for like 20 minutes, like she had just gone to the grocery store real quick. And I saw the sewing machine sitting over in the corner, and I was like, all right, I might as well use this to kind of like decompress and get my mind off of it, try and focus on something else. So I took it back to my house and I started tailoring some clothes for myself. And it was at that exact moment right then when I was done that it became real to me, because that was the first time that I had not gotten an angry, slightly frustrated text message telling me to bring her sewing machine back. And I was just sitting there and I was like, you for real right now? And I just bawled my eyes out. So from then on, I've always just said, you know what? I'm never ever going to use another sewing machine ever again. And I've made like 150 videos using that machine right there. And now that I've laid the groundwork for you as to why I kinda sorta have no desire to ever use another sewing machine ever again, Brian Swisher, the digital content specialist over at Brother Sewing Machines, he recently reached out to me and was like, hey, I think you might be interested in one of our machines. What do you think about taking a look? And at first I was like, no, I'm good. I'm not having it. I'm way too emotionally attached to this machine over here. No thank you. But then I kind of mulled it over for a couple of days and I thought about it and I was like, you know what, it actually might be a good idea, because despite the fact that I love the machine that I use, there are a ton of different accessories that are just not compatible with it. Like a rolled hem presser foot, I can't find one for this machine. So we could shorten a dress shirt, but it'd be 1,000 times easier with that presser foot. And there are some that are actually compatible with Brother sewing machines. So I was like, all right, I will at least do this. Let's check it out and let's see what it's all about, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so this right here, this is what we got. This is the Brother ST371 HD, and this is actually a machine that I thought about pulling the trigger on probably like 6 months ago, something like that. I was making another video where I was kind of, looking over some sewing machines that I found on Amazon, and this is one that I saw, and I was like, I really want that machine. That'd be really amazing to have that machine. My guy Brian over at Brother, He didn't see that particular video, I don't think. I think he just kind of saw my channel as a whole and was like, hey, we want to send you this machine. But I finally have some time to dive into this thing. It's Saturday afternoon and the girls went to go make Christmas cookies over at a friend's house. So what do I do with my time? Do I play video games? Do I take a nap? Nope, I do a sewing machine unboxing. So yeah. Okay, so I got it out of the box. I still have it in this plastic here because taking it out of the plastic is like the most satisfying thing in the entire world. My first impression of this machine is this thing is heavy. Yo, this thing is like 1.5 times the weight of my current machine. And trust me, like it's a good thing. It says that it's strong and tough right here. And I totally would have thought that that was just like marketing, just kind of like, all right, yeah, I'm sure it's strong and tough. But like just based off of the impressions from the weight and the heft of this thing alone, like it actually feels pretty solid and pretty durable. On my current machine, on a few of my tutorials in the past, I've mentioned that like you kind of got to be careful as far as what you're doing and what machine you're using, because if you're doing things like, you know, if you're sewing through denim or canvas or, you know, leather or any kind of like jacket material types of things like that, your machine may or may not be able to handle it. And this thing, I'm pretty sure this thing could like, it could pretty much sew through wood if you wanted it to. We might try that sometime. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm actually not. So let's get the plastic off of this guy, but first impressions, heft and weight and durability, yeah, we're so far so good. Now, with the tape off and everything kind of, you know, looking the way that it normally should for a sewing machine, the quality of this machine is amazing. I'm kind of having some doubts as to whether or not I'm gonna switch. It might happen. It's really cool. This down here, this actually kind of has like this cool kind of carbon fiber look to it. I really like that. Everything just feels very, very solid. It's a very thick plastic. This universal needle here, at least I'm assuming it's a universal needle, feels really good compared to the ones that I've normally used on my machine and the ones that I've gotten from the store. All of the settings up top here are, you know, kind of the same, but in a good way, in that this here, this is your stitch tension, which is really cool that it's on the top as opposed to right here like it is on my current machine. And then you have your stitch width and you have your stitch length, both of which are kind of self-explanatory. I've made tutorials on them already. But let's take an even deeper dive into this thing. Let's use it and see what it's all about. This bad boy is all set up and ready to go, and I've got two words for you: slick and intuitive. The setup process of this guy, it deserves its own video, which will come in the future, but it's just so intuitive in that all the steps that it takes to actually set this guy up just makes sense. Now, every sewing machine is generally kind of sort of the same as far as its setup goes. You go from point A to point B, and that's really about it. It even kind of numbers the steps as you go along. But on this machine here, what they kind of did is they took that step that could kind of seem sort of confusing in a way, and they made it just that much more easy. That'll make more sense in the future when I actually give like a nice good in-depth review on how to set this bad boy up. But the only thing that I really want to know and get out of this video is this sewing machine going to replace my mom's sewing machine? And the best way to find out is to use this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to sew one straight stitch and one zigzag stitch, and well, that was two, and one straight stitch, and then kind of see how it passes the test. Let's do this. Okay, straight off the bat, for that straight stitch, this thing feels amazing. Now I'm gonna end up editing the sound out of this sewing machine running because nobody actually wants to listen to a sewing machine running because it's annoying. But the best way that I could describe the sound of this thing is kind of the difference between like a German car, the way that a German car sounds when it runs, and then the difference of, let's say like a Kia or a Nissan or something that's not necessarily a bad car, it just doesn't have that that well-oiled machine sound to it, that manufactured, everything is running seamlessly together kind of a sound. And my mom's sewing machine does not have that sound at all. It just has this, I can't even think how to describe it. It has this kind of, I dare you to throw things at me, because whatever it is, I'm gonna march right through it without a hiccup kind of a sound. It's just, it's so satisfying. Now, to be 100% honest and transparent with you, I had zero desire to like this sewing machine because it's not my mom's sewing machine, and I miss my mom every single day. And if you would have told me a couple of years ago that I would make sewing machine tutorials and garner a relatively large audience doing so, I would have called you crazy. But here we are, that's life. And this sewing machine my brother taught me, it honestly taught me a very, very valuable life lesson in that by me moving on from my mom's sewing machine, by me not using it anymore, it doesn't mean that I'm ever gonna forget about her. It doesn't mean that I'm ever gonna forget about what it is that she did for me, and that it's okay. It's okay. I don't have to attach that emotional attachment to inanimate objects in order to remember her. And if anything, she would have wanted me to upgrade to a better machine. And I'm so incredibly excited to move forward with this and honestly throw everything at it. Because I'm pretty confident that it's gonna be able to handle it. I'm excited to use it in every single video moving forward. I'm excited to throw jeans at it, and chinos, and denim, and leather, and canvas, because I'm relatively certain that it's gonna handle it just fine. So thank you, Brian, for sending me this machine. I wanted to give you context as to why I had no desire to use this machine. I had no desire to like this machine. And I love this machine. You won. You actually, it worked. It totally worked. So if you've made it this far into this video, thank you. Anyway, I'm gonna go do some more tailoring on this thing, which I'm super excited about now. SD out, deuces!